welcome all to Liberation Day, where we have to pay a lot more for the insane tariffs Tariff Champ is put up. My God. It is insane to me. It is so insane to me, fellow freedom likers. It's what makes me sick. The Tariff Champ, the clown, Donald J. Trump, has unleashed reciprocal tariffs on certain imports in certain countries. Not so much in this insanity. For this insanity, it's going to come out of our pockets. And this inept clown is making us suffer for the insanity that is Tariff Champ. Of course, in a Wednesday afternoon address from the Rose Garden, inept clown followed through on his long-delayed and ill-advised pledge to impose tariffs on American importers. The base tariff rate will be 10%, virtually on all goods from foreign countries, but some countries will face much higher rates. Tariff Champ said it again, ladies and gentlemen. He said, April 2nd, 2025 will be forever be remembered as the American industry was reborn. The day America's destiny was proclaimed. And the day we began to make America wealthy again. Going to make it good and wealthy. He's an idiot. The stock market went, woo! And he talked about good and gonna make it good and wealthy. It's so low energy for me. And I have to say this, well, I'm just saying, of course, Trump framed the tax as a reciprocal exchange. Of course, reciprocal tariffs on countries around the world. Reciprocal. That means they do it to us, so we do it to them. That was the quote from the inept clown. Trump later held up a chart showing what tariffs will be for different countries. The chart indicates goods from the European Union will be taxed at 20%. 20%. Yes, 20%. While items from China will face a 34% tariff. The United Kingdom and Brazil had 10% taxes listed. Vietnam's tariff rate was particularly steep at 46%. Yuck. Trump also said a 25% tax on all foreign-made automobiles is imminent. Although it's unclear how it defines a car as quote-unquote foreign-made. He goes on this. Toyota sells 1 million foreign-made automobiles into the United States. And General Motors sells almost none. Ford sells very little. None of our companies are allowed to go into other countries. And I say that friend and foe. And in many cases, a friend is worse than a foe in terms of trade. Can somebody tell this guy that's not how things work? The nut clown, even so, this also came from a lot of updates around on HuffPost. This Trump's promise to meet tariffs 1-for-1 at the beginning of his address on January 20th now appears to mean something else, with different tariffs for different countries. Well, starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations, but we will charge them approximately half of what they've been charging us. The tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. Of course, he doesn't know what that means. It's unclear because the president then always up a chart roughly to 2 dozen countries and the tariffs he plans to impose. Ladies and gentlemen, this insane clown put up a lot of money there, put up a lot of things. There's 10% on Ghana, Ethiopia, Panama, Bolivia, Haiti, Kenya, Iceland. Qatar, Bahrain, Ukraine, the Bahamas, Uruguay, Oman, Morocco, Trinidad and Tobago, El Salvador, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Honduras, Guatemala, Ecuador, Argentina, New Zealand, United UAE, the Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, Colombia, Turkey, Australia, Chile, Singapore, Brazil, United Kingdom, and of course, I mean they get 10%. Everybody else gets even higher than that. European Union gets 20%, Vietnam gets 46%, China gets 34%, Japan gets 24%, and so on and so on and so on. This guy is bumbling the ball. He's presented it. He's shown you that the list of the countries will be impacted by new U.S. discounted reciprocal tariffs. I mean, he wants to make money out of your bucket. And of course, Happy Boy decided to gently say, okay, inflation's going down, when it's actually coming back when you look at the stock market. He campaigned on the promise of lowering grocery costs, including eggs. He's now claiming to have fulfilled that promise, even though the grounds tariffs are actually increasing inflation once more. As he boasted earlier today, the price of eggs are dropped 59%, and going down more. The availability is fantastic. Groceries, bag with different things in it. Groceries went through the roof, and I campaigned on that. And I talked about groceries a lot, and energy costs are down. Gasoline is way under $3, and people are buying things and living again. This guy is totally inept. I mean, take a look at this. I mean, this guy is actually a total clown. Brian Tyler Cohen and next said with the S&P 500 in the first 100 days in office, you can tell by that chart. Yes, that chart. But you can see why it happened. The Barack Obama second term, almost hit the 8% mark. Donald Trump's first term was above the 4% mark, and in between that and the 6% mark. The Biden administration, in its first term, in the first 100 days, went down a little bit, then surged up, and then down a little bit, and then up until the 100th day, it went up above the 8% threshold. But the Trump administration, in its second term, it went down, down, down. The S&P 500 went down, 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 all the way down to negative 6. This is not, we're not near the 100th mark, period. And it might go down because of his idiocy. It's so finally nice to finally be liberated from the confines of economic prosperity. This man, Liberation Day is insane. Donald Trump has become more inept than ever before. Donald Trump has shown you that he's bumbling. And everybody agrees with this insanity is downright bumbling. Take a listen to his, reciprocal tariffs on foreign-made automobiles. This isn't fun.
Happened, and they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
Holy shit! That guy! Holy cow! Congresswoman Deborah Ross wrote on X that Trump's latest tariffs will not liberate the American people. They'll drive up costs and threaten a recession. When he escalates this trade war, Democrats will work with anyone willing to combat these disastrous tariffs. Donald Trump is a butt-fumbling idiot. And of course, this line And of course, this butt fumbling line, and of course, another butt fumbling line from Donald Trump about about a minimum baseline tariff of 10%.
At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart? And that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent cheating. So we're going to have a minimum of cheating, and we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the tariffs and watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate.
This guy is totally in that. Is totally in that. George Carlin said, but said it best. This guy is fucking stupid. Congressman Herb Conaway wrote this. So, if today is called Liberation Day, does that make tomorrow Economic Crash Day? Asking for a friend here. He is butt fumbling. He is butt fumbling. The Donald Trump insanity case is so inept. I can't even imagine what it would be like tomorrow morning when the stock market goes down, down, down. This is what drives everybody up a wall. And then then when he talks about that big fat chart, he is implementing the largest tax hike in American history. The largest since 1941. Think about this for a second. This Franklin Delano Roosevelt instituted a tax hike, and this one is gonna be big enough to cause a recession. Is this clown making any sense? Can somebody help me here? Somebody help me here. Here's the chart. Donnie Boy gets it. Donnie Boy gets it.
Big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%. So we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything. But now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see.
This guy is
so pathetic. 39%. We're going to charge them 20%. So we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff.
46. This guy.
Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest.
The liquor, folks. This guy is going to bumble and bumble and bumble. In 1913, for reasons unknown, according to this tweet right here, they established income tax so citizens rather than foreign countries would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to an abrupt end when the Great Depression, it would have never happened if they had to stay with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. And Donald Trump, being that he unveiled the Liberation Day tariffs, he would have said, you know what, I would like the help, I would like the funding of people, and I would like that everybody, may I have a pudding before I go to bed? This is what he said.
Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying
the money
necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time.
I think he's a butt fumbling idiot. This Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 famously made the Great Depression worse. This guy doesn't even know history. We're funded by a bunch of clowns. Hey everybody, why don't we all celebrate our insanity? And of course he closed out this bit with a one of the most outrageous with something that will be a foreshadowing for years to come.
This will be a very big moment. I think you're going to remember today. It's going to be a free nation that we're dealing with. We're going to have a very free and beautiful nation. It's going to be Liberation Day in America, and it's going to be a day that hopefully you're going to look back in years to come and you're going to say, you know, he was right. This has turned out to be one of the most important days in the history of our country.
For all the wrong you might be right for all, but it is for the wrong reasons. Of course, the market is already in free fall. This is a disaster. It was said, "Oh, I butt fumbled, but I'm an idiot." But many people agree. But many people agreed with this insanity. It's reckless. And one of the most shocking stunts ever. Trump said he's issuing with, of course, this is unbelievably reckless and disruptive. Of course, that crashed by over 2% in after hours trading following that announcement. Because it will only get worse tomorrow morning as fear and uncertainty continue to drive the market. Way to go, Donald. You've shown us that you're a fucking idiot again. And of course, Rand Paul, and of course, in one of the more humble marks I've ever seen, Rand Paul breaks with Dodd and says that its tariffs are both economically and politically damaging. He's trying to of course, he accurately cites the historical precedent of tariffs being, disruptive and very, very unpopular. But take a listen to Senator Paul and hear why he's, Dodd, we can't, Don, we're not doing this right.
Tariffs have also led to political decimation. When McKinley most famously put tariffs on in 1890, they lost 50% of their seats in the next election. When Hart Smoothie put on their tariff in the early 1930s, they lost the House and the Senate for 60 years. So they're not only bad economically, they're bad politically.
And he's got a point. Rand Paul fumbled Rand Paul. You can hate Rand Paul, but the guy got a point. Then Mike Pence might quote this: "The Trump tariff tax is the largest peacetime tax hike in U.S. history. These tariffs are nearly 10 times as high as those imposed by the Trump Pence administration and will cost American families over $3,500 per year. Check out Spoiling America's Golden Age." Boy, when Mike Pence is right, there are serious problems. But it doesn't end there, folks. CNBC anchor John Fort was left gobsmacked by the higher than expected tariffs. The inept clown announced on Wednesday, saying Americans should be prepared for serious impacts to the market. Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, isn't too very bright, right? Not too fucking bright. Of course, he said the market reaction after hours, I've never seen anything like it. Of course, I think it's fair to say is worse than the worst case scenario of the tariffs that many in the market expected the president to impose. The butt fumbling of this idiot has shown you right then and there she's an idiot. Of course, and then there's the dumb logic from Don Khan, and not some countries took issue with the White House actions on tariffs. Calculations when it comes down to it anyway. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the U.S. tariffs imposed on his country were totally unwarranted, but Australia will not retaliate. At least not for now. He said, President Trump referred to reciprocal tariffs. A reciprocal tariff would be zero, not 10%. Of course, the U.S. and Australia have a free trade agreement, and the U.S. has a $2 to $1 trade surplus with Australia. Albany said, and continues on, the administration's tariffs have no base in logic, and they go against the basis of our two nations partnership. This is not an act of a friend. Of course, Trump said the United States bought $3 billion of Australian beef last year, but Australia will not accept U.S. beef imports. Albany said the ban on raw U.S. beef was for biosecurity reasons. Of course, New Zealand also took issue with Trump's tariff logic. Trade Minister Todd McClay rejected the figure on the administration's chart about the tariffs New Zealand imposes and said he has asked his country's officials to clarify it. He said, we don't have a 20% tariff rate. He's adding that New Zealand was a very low tariff regime and that the correct figure was below the 10% baseline rate applied by the U.S. to all countries. But fumbling idiot! They are laughing at the bank with this guy. And of course, the Senate decided, okay, we're not going to take it. As you heard from Rand Paul, of course, we're not going to be a part of the Liberation Day bullshit. We want fair trade, not this trade. Of course, the Senate voted Wednesday to terminate Trump's emergency powers to impose tariffs on Canada shortly after he announced even more aggressive tariffs in a Liberation Day event at the White House. The 51-48 vote marked a rare bipartisan rebuke of the Trump administration's erratic trade policies and heightened business uncertainty, turbulent markets, and growing fears of an economic recession. This guy is going to make it back, to turn us back into 1928 again. And you bozos who voted him in, congratulations. We're going to be back in this is going to be the Great Depression redo. Hide your lick. Better start saving up some bucks. And of course, J.P. Morgan says Trump, of course, offered a grim outlook in its daily economic briefing following the clowns tariff announcement. These policies, if sustained, would likely push the U.S. and global economy into recession this year. And then Wednesday briefing said, according to CNBC's Carl Quintanilla, we view the full information of implementation of these policies as a substantial microeconomic shock not currently integrated in our forecast. Hide the liquor, everybody. Donald Trump is burning and insane. Somebody hide the bear. And then there's this. His tariffs have also applied to most of the globe, including the uninhabited Heard Island and the McDonald Islands in the southern Indian Ocean. Trump hit the islands with a 10% reciprocal tariff, despite them not being occupied by humans. A White House official said they were included because they were Australian territories, Axios reported. Similarly, Trump struck 10% reciprocal tariffs on the Australian territory of Couples, the Keeling Islands, which has less than 600 people living there. The remote Norwegian Arctic islands of Svalbard and Jan Mayen were also listed. This guy is so inept. I kid you not. This guy is so fucking inept you can't even see straight. The inept clown is screwing you blind. There is no basis in logic. He said taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. He's promising jobs, growing factories will be coming, run more back into our country. And then this guy, and he's created a trade war. Everybody was not happy, but Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds said the UK ought to strike a trade deal to mitigate the impact of the 10% tariffs on British goods announced by the inept clown. He said nobody wants a trade war, and our intention is to remain to secure a deal. But nothing is off the table, and the government will do everything necessary to defend the UK's national interest. And they will try that. Giorgia Meloni said we will do everything and we can work towards an agreement with the United States with the aim of avoiding a trade war that would inevitably weaken the West in favor of other global players. This is insane. There's no basis in logic, and everybody is not and everybody is livid. He's creating a trade war he can't even win. The Senate is not going to play the bullshit game. We are going to be ending suffering because we're idiots. Because they're idiots. He said, don't let the Democrat out of victory with this threat, because I would be devastated for the Republican Party and far more importantly for the United States. But everyone said, oh no, my farm is going to go under. It's because of your idiocy. I guess Rand Paul fell subconscious. Tom Phillips was saw something. Must have saw something. He said for decades our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far. Like this guy is complete idiotic. And of course this signs that the tariffs effective April 5th. And I can say that it's pretty much the calling card of it all. Hide the liquor. Stay happy, stay healthy, and be a good human being. I'll be back next time. Like what you see? Buy me a damn coffee. Link in description.